got to miss that last round at Abu Dhabi because of Formula E, your new commitment, your new life. But how do you see the season having got to this point? You're very tight to P3 with Paul Aaron, and you've had some really good races too, some good wins. Very good. And you could have had more.
Yeah, for sure. Thank you. The season was good. I mean, from my side, I drove well most of the season. Of course, there were things in my control and outside of my control that went wrong, let's say. So we could have had more podiums, more wins, but everyone can say the same. So it's a bit disappointing that I can't finish off the season, and my mistake in Baku put me kind of out the championship in that sense. But yeah, I'm looking forward to Qatar finishing off strong with the team and then on to the new adventure, which I'm looking forward to.
Just talk about that incident in Baku. Looking back now, the dust has settled a little bit.
I mean, it's difficult to really if I went back in the same position, I'm gonna fight just as hard to
Yeah.
keep the position. Obviously, coming out the pits, especially in Baku, with the long straight, your brakes cool down quite a lot. So you come out the pits with cold tires and cold brakes. And you use the straight to weave and get something into the tires, but I was racing, so I had to defend. I couldn't weave, get any temperature. And I broke early. I broke light compared to with warm tires, warm brakes. But I just misjudged a bit the deficit that it's going to be. So obviously I went straight on. Should have been a podium. But yeah, I learned from it. And I mean, you live and you learn, don't you?
You do. Formula Two is, I mean, from somebody who watches Formula One, obviously regularly, and as many Formula Two races as I can, it looks unbelievably difficult. There are so many things that go on. Even the cars seem very temperamental and fragile when you're on the grid, waiting too long on the grid, perhaps. Other things as well, plus all the stuff that goes on in the race and the lottery of safety cars and pit stops must be unbelievably frustrating, I would imagine. I imagine. I don't know whether you just enjoy it and love every second of it, but I imagine it's very frustrating most of the time.
Yeah, it is. I mean, from the inside, it's chaotic as well. So, like you said, the cars are difficult to drive. You really need to be moving the car around to be quick. I mean, having a
What do you mean
lockup
by
is
that?
usually.
Do you mean throwing it around to be quick?
Yeah, I mean, I guess in Formula One, you really see the car planted into the ground, and any slide that they get, it's either going to be a big one or you're going to lose time. Whereas in F2, there's not as much downforce, so it's almost like a big F4 car where you're having to move around to carry the speed,
Mm.
and that's difficult because there still is some downforce. So when you get that slide, it's almost a guess on if you're going to make the corner or not. So it's a lot of that, and we only have one practice session straight into qualifying. So on different compounds, I mean, it's just you have to be on it straight away in F2 to be fast. And I think it's good because it teaches you how to be on it straight away for F1. Of course, we see rookies go into F1 and maybe are a bit too above in FP1 or the first session, but F2 does teach you in the long run for sure.
Monza must have been absolutely heartbreaking for you, I imagine, given how quick you were there.
Yeah, Monza was very disappointing. I mean, we had the pace all weekend. We dominated the weekend, and then an unfortunate safety car, which was completely out of our control, cost us the win. But I mean, it was still P2. But yeah, I left that weekend very disappointed.
That is also a function of the tire regulation as well. And I know it's similar to Formula One, but I'm wondering how much discussion you have. If you're in the, say, the first two rows of the grid, is it almost a given what tire you're going to start on? Can you ever take a gamble from that situation or not?
Yeah, I mean, we get the one-off event like Bahrain where the alternate strategy is actually better. Usually most of the time, I think once you're in the top four, you always go with the softer compound and then the harder
Yeah,
compound because you need to have a good start, you need to have a good lap one.
yeah.
And I mean, in my position in Monza, obviously Ollie boxed the lap before me, so we would have been stupid not to just cover him. So we covered him, and then you're at risk of anyone further behind staying out and getting a free pit stop. So F2 is always chaos every weekend.
Zane, I want to say something now that you may not want to talk about, but I think it's something that your fans and the fans would want me to ask, and that is that you've got the great track record. You've done incredibly well from your part of the world as well. Not many drivers from your region. Plus, you've been winning from day one, from age 12 or whatever, in karting and upwards. You've done a really good job in everything you've done. You were a Red Bull driver for a while, then you were a Sauber driver, and now you're doing Formula E. And it's a great deal, and congratulations on that. And I'm sure you're going to have a fabulous career in Formula E. But it's kind of disappointing that a guy like you isn't absolutely on the ladder straight into Formula One now. And how do you see that? Because there are guys you're beating who are in Formula One and going to be going to Formula One and probably doing very well. And you know how
Yeah,
good you are. For sure, you know how good you are now.
yeah, for sure. I mean, it's difficult really because when you grow up, Formula One is the dream, the goal, and that's all you really care about. I think I've realized through my career from F3 to F2 now that it's not all inside my control, and I can only do what I can do on track. I mean, I've done that. Things could have gone better from my side for sure, always, which could have put me in a better spot. But you just need to take the opportunities where they come. I think the drivers that wait it out their whole life for F1 and don't really look otherwise, then
Yeah.
they kind of lose their career in general. So, I mean, it's never over until I stop my career. F1's always a possibility if I'm performing in the championship that I'm doing. So I'm just focused on going into Formula E, doing the best job I can, and really impressing anyone in any series that I can, to be honest.
But what's your take on, and we'll get onto that in a second, and it is exciting and it's thrilling for you, but what's your take on these driver academies, the Formula One team driver academies? I'm guessing you're slightly cynical about it, but maybe you're not. I mean, what happened at Red Bull, for example? I mean, why didn't that go any further?
I mean, it's always different scenarios. I think in Red Bull there were a lot of drivers, a lot of us in F2, and last year I wasn't performing the way that I should have. My F2 year didn't really go well, so from that side of things, I was just focused on getting into F2 this year and doing the best job I can because my performances didn't warrant having anything in a career last year. So. This year's gone much better from my side. Obviously, I'm with Sauber, a bit of a different scenario there again. Um, Obviously, it's going towards Audi, and experience is key in Formula One. And I think the rookies are showing now that without experience, they're very fast, and we can come
Yeah.
in and do the job. So I think that's a good eye opener for everyone that we are ready to step up, and I think that's quite clear now. So from my side, I mean, I can't really tell you exactly what goes on in every aspect because I don't know.
No, of course not.
It's always a surprise to me as well.
Well, a very mature attitude you have as well, Zane.
Thank you, firstly. I mean, it's always going to be, it's all to some extent, it's always going to be more talent than seats, more amazing drivers than seats available in any championship. So I think it's always going to be difficult. But obviously, I've grown up racing Ollie, Franco, Kimi, so they've all done an amazing job. They all deserve the seat, and that's where it gets difficult because who deserves it more? Because I think a lot of us have the talent to be in Formula One or in any high Formula E IndyCar doing very
Mm.
well.
So who's quicker, Ollie or Kimi? I'm only joking. I know you're not going to want to answer that one. But Ollie
Yeah,
went
I mean
well,
they're
didn't
they're
he?
both amazing drivers.
They are. Are you surprised by Franco?
No, not at all. I think growing up from karting up until now, I've been against him, and I know he's not always been in the best team in F4 in karting. I think he's always shown his pace, though. I mean, you can see it in F2 when anyone who comes in and even if it's a one-off weekend, if they perform well, I think it's clear that they have the talent and they just need to a bit rough around the edges, the same as me, the same
Mm.
as anyone else. So I think there's so many of us in the world, 20, 30 drivers who can jump in any championship and be good.
Are you still got a Sauber deal as you go into Formula E?
Still all in the works. Obviously, I'm a Sauber driver this year. Not sure for next year what the plans are in any sense, to be honest.
Well, I'll say it because I know many of my viewers will say it. It's a shame you won't be in the Sauber F1 car next year. But anyway, I'm sure you feel the same way, but there you go. But what you will be is teammate to Lucas de Grassi in this mega new Formula E team. And this is Abt, right? Abt, who won the championship with Audi,
Absolutely.
interestingly,
Yeah.
interesting irony there. Now working with Lola and Yamaha to do this new Formula E team. Tell us about that. Because you're not new to Formula E, right? You had an Andretti test deal for a while. You did some races
Yeah.
or not?
I was a reserve driver this year.
Reserve driver, yeah,
So
yeah.
I did all the FP zeros, the rookie tests. Yeah, I'm really looking forward to it. I mean, even the names Yamaha, Lola, Apt, from some very big names in motorsports, and it's a new package, a new philosophy,
Yeah.
which means we can only go up from here. So I'm looking forward to see where we stand straight away. But I know the people within the companies are motivated, and I'm sure it's a winning product at the end of the day. So when that is, we don't know, but looking forward to seeing when.
How's that going to change your life in terms of organization, where you live, logistics? Because you've also had a big footprint in the United States for a long time, right?
Yeah, I raced in the US for 3 years, 2 years when I was in karting.
Hmm.
I mean, I love Barbados. So whenever I can get home, I get home into
Oh,
this in the sun.
good.
So I still live there. I don't. When anyone asks where do you live, it's always Barbados. Everywhere else is just a working holiday destination for me.
You
So that
sound
will
like
stay
a
the same.
You sound like a Barbadian. Is that the right way to describe you? A Barbadian?
Bajan,
A Bajan, sorry, excuse me.
Bajan. Yeah,
You sound
no
like a
worries.
Bajan as well. You sound like a cricketer. That's where
Yeah,
we hear most of them, right?
yeah.
Brilliant.
Yeah,
Good
I mean,
stuff.
Barbados is my home and it always will be. So that's where I'll be.
Well, just to finish on the Formula E, so will you be based in Germany, where the team is, or not? Or will you be literally going up and down from home?
Yeah, I mean, how I see it is I'll be at the factory like I always have my career. I'll be at the factory. I'll be doing everything I can 100% to win races and perform. Anytime that's not valid, I'll be in Barbados. Put it that way. That's it.
Brilliant. Okay, so let's tell us about Barbados. How near to the beach are you? Did you grow up?
Everything's 5 minutes away. So I'm 5 minutes
Wow.
from the airport. I'm 5 minutes from the beach, 5 minutes from another beach. So it's a very small island, less than 300,000 people. Um, so yeah, everything's close. I mean, if you've come to Barbados, you'll never forget it, and that will be at the top of your list for the next year.
Well, we'll be over there. And your dad and his brother have an amazing kart facility there, which kind of told you where you were going with your life, correct?
My entire family has raced from the time that they were young. My uncle owns Bushy Park, which is actually a car circuit as well. I mean, it would be great to get F1 there in the future. That's the main goal from my side, not a business side.
Excellent.
So that would be
Excellent.
amazing. But yeah, Bushy Park is it's the only circuit. It's the best circuit in the Caribbean in general. We've hosted loads of events, so
Yeah,
looking
I've
forward to
seen
getting
that.
some big ones there.
And you know the circuit there pretty well, I would imagine.
Yeah, well, what's quite funny is, and what makes it unique is it's a car circuit, but there's many different links. So we can create like 25, I think, karting circuits and like 5 or 6 car circuits as well. So
Excellent.
I've driven every track possible, every layout.
Tell us about life in growing up for you. Obviously, it was a dream at one point, and then it starts to become reality in this part of the world where nobody's ever done what you want to do before.
Yeah, I mean, it's quite funny because I just live day by day. So I never really sat back and kind of thought what I want to be or what I am. So for my entire career, it was just the next step. Every year we were moving up. It was funny, up until this year in F2, I've never done more than one season in a category. So I was always a rookie. So we were just always having so much to learn. I mean, the initial goal was to get to Europe, have some fun, see what the karting's like over there. And then obviously when I started performing, then that's when it got a bit more serious. And I'd say from kind of F4 level until now, it's been let's see how far we can get and where we can get in
Mm.
motorsports. Like you said, I mean, there's no one ever from Barbados in F2 or at this level, so everything's been new. Everything's been learning from people who have been in it for a long time. My management has been a big part of it. ADD management, obviously, they took Lando to F1, so we've been learning from a lot of people along the way.
So now it's Formula E, and that's international. It's the future. It's an interesting car, lots of technology, lots of management. How quick are they? What do they like to drive?
They're nice to drive. I mean, of course, in terms of downforce levels and raw speed as an F1 car, it's not the same. It's not there. We're not on slicks. It's pretty much on road tires. I think it's very fun to drive in a very different way. I mean, in F1, F2 is the downforce and the pure speed and adrenaline of the car. I think in Formula E, it's more moving around even more, getting the car to move and yeah, using your inputs to be
Hmm.
fast is very technical. With the energy side of things is difficult as well, very difficult, more than fuel saving even. There's a lot of technical things that a driver can do to be fast in the race, which is why having Lucas as a teammate is probably the best thing. He's double my age, double my experience, and I can learn from him.
And he's coming off a relatively lean year for him, so he'll be hungry, and it's a good time to grow organically, I guess, as a group as well. All these new components coming together.
For sure. I mean, you can see straight away in testing how motivated he is. I think he sees something amazing in what's going on as well. And I think me coming in as the new driver, seeing someone so motivated who's been in it for a long time. I mean, it's easy for him to go home and he's done everything in his career to sit down and watch racing. But for
Mm.
him to choose to be part of this, I think it says everything, and I'm looking forward to pushing together with him.
Paul Marie in Bridgetown.
That I would love that. I mean, I think that's more realistic. That's very realistic, actually, to be able to have that to happen. I think we go to Hong Kong, Japan already, so
Mm.
Barbados is even closer than there. So I mean, I'll be pushing for that to happen for sure.
Well, it's about time the motorsporting world returned to that part of the world. After that, we had the Bahamas Speed Week, which was so brilliant in the 50s and 60s. I don't know if you know David McLaughlin, who's been doing a lot of revivals there in the Bahamas over the last 10 years, done a really good job. Also with juniors there in karting. And everybody loved it. At the end of the Formula One season, everybody went there. I know that was the Bahamas, but it'd be great now if we could bring Barbados back into it in some form or another.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, the passion that everyone in Barbados has for motorsports is amazing. So that would
Really?
be yeah, it would be crazy. You when we have a rally. It's called Rally Barbados every year. Ken Block actually won it a few years ago. I mean, there's thousands and thousands of fans on the road jumping up and down, going crazy. They love drifting. They love loud cars. It would be amazing. It's also a different lifestyle. So everyone coming to Barbados. Yes, it's racing. You're having a race weekend, but it's also a bit of a holiday as well.
Have you done any of that?
Yeah, I did it's funny. I've done two Rally Barbadoses, but I've not finished one yet. So I've always
What were
been
you
very
driving?
fast.
What were you in?
Skoda R5.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
What's an
So
R5? Does that mean like a WRC
Rally
3
2. Yeah.
Rally 2?
Rally
Okay,
2.
quick car
Yeah.
then. Oh,
Yeah,
wow.
very quick. And I've been quick. I know Hayden Paddon came down last year, and I
Oh,
was
wow.
I was on pace, but obviously circuit racing is a bit different. So I would be using all the road, and but in a rally you can't quite do that. So it always bit me after a few stages. So I need to calm down a bit anytime I do a rally.
And how are you on drifting?
Again, I've done it quite a lot. So last year, especially, I had a crash on the first day of the rally. So I was out the rally in
Hmm.
terms of the standings. So for the next day, I just went and drifted all day, did donuts all day for the fans. It's all over my Instagram, and they were going insane. They love it in Barbados.
How do you like to drive a car? Do you like to drive it on the rear or the front? I mean, what do you like to feel in a car?
I mean, I feel a lot, so I feel more than most. I think I drive very based off of feel and less references. Uh, I think an oversteery car is always quicker than an understeery car, no matter what. So I much rather be moving around, a bit more difficult, but it's always faster.
Makes a lot of sense. You got the front end planted, then you can always handle the rear.
Yeah, that's what Max is the best at.
Very good, Zane. Okay, buddy. Thanks so much.
Nice to meet you.